All right, guys, happy Mistake Monday. This is Ronnie and Randy back with another edition. So, on this Mistake Monday, this one is kind of triple fold almost. And I'll talk about the property and then we'll kind of just talk about what we did. So, there was a property, and we normally buy in Indianapolis, but it's property in Anderson that we bought. And just kind of remembering what happened again, this was almost 3 years ago when we bought this property, that. We got the property, was talking with the people that had it, and actually this property was on the MLS.
Mistake one.
Mistake one. So this property was on the MLS, and then because of how busy we were at the time, we just kind of went off of the pictures, and what we saw from the pictures, and didn't have any boots on the ground to actually go and vet what we were seeing. So that's mistake number two. And then, as we were continuing, looking at things, we were like, you know what, this is we shouldn't be buying in this area anyway, because we don't really have a big investor pool to be, no one who really buys in areas and buys properties like this. So that's also mistake number three. Yeah. We were buying in an area that we hadn't really had much success in. The property, we didn't really walk. We just kind of just trust the pictures that were there. And then, again, number three, we just, it was on the MLS, all of those things kind of smell trouble for, and we were also getting it closer to like list price, which also all those things are very troubling signs, and mistakes that you're going to make if you're an investor again, because what's the goal? To get the property at the right price so that you can turn it to an investor. Randy, kind of talk about, what happens or how hard it is to try to sell a property that's already on the MLS or has been on the MLS recently.
Yeah. Well, I think one, I don't want to say it's impossible, but if you don't have a model of taking deals down, and you're strictly assigning deals, it's going to be really hard to move a property that's listed on the MLS, because it's going to show pending, and it's going to show the list price, and they're going to assume that whatever price you gave them, your spread is what probably that list price difference, which might not be the case, but it's just hard because there's too much information out there, and there's an agent involved, and it's just a sticky situation where it's not the ideal way to wholesale. Now, in our case, we ended up taking that deal down. However, the mistakes that also went into this just didn't help us. So we didn't walk the property. So even though we took the deal down, we found out after we got in that it just needed way too much work, from what the pictures showed. So we made the mistake of not walking it, made the mistake of going into an area, not just Anderson, an area in Anderson that isn't very ideal. But since we don't do a lot of business there, we don't really know any better. Anderson is not just Anderson. There's different pockets that are better for investors, and this one wasn't in one of those areas, and we learned the hard way on this one, man. And I think we sold it a couple times until we finally sold it a third time that this one's gonna stick. So it's just the mistake, like you said, just not doing enough. Really, it just comes down to not doing enough due diligence and just staying in your lane.
That's what you got to do. You got to definitely stay in your lane. And again, things get really tricky when things are on the MLS and you're trying to take it down and you're dealing with an agent, because agents aren't necessarily used to the wholesale investing side of things. And so, things get really complicated, and you want to keep things simple as possible. Yeah. You want to keep things simple as possible. But if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this Mistake Monday, and we'll talk with you soon.